Hi, I'm Josephine, reporting for WORLDbytes.
Hi, I'm Emily Boehm, reporting for Worldwrite.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hi, my name's Kazaya and I'm reporting for WORLDbytes. We're here in Dalston today trying to get the public's opinion on internships and working for free.
If you are working for a charity, that's fine. From the point of view of the young job seeker, if there was nothing else doing, I would allow myself to be exploited in order to get the work experience. If the person undertaking the work doesn't benefit from it, then I'm afraid they're victims of their own stupidity.
Do you think people should be working for free and expect to work for free?
I don't know if they necessarily should, but I know that it is necessary today. To get a job, you have to kind of bump up your CV, and that's the only reason I did it. I didn't particularly enjoy it. It's not fun. You don't get anything out of it really, apart from learning how to make coffee.
Can you accept that there is a certain amount of elitism in the whole process as well? Most people can't afford to support themselves and work for free.
So if you have your expenses and your food paid for the day, then there's not many other costs that should be taken into the equation.
That all depends if that people are volunteering for an organization which has got no profitable purposes, or if they're doing work just to be able to access work in a later stage. If it's for the first, I'm up for it. But the fact that people has to work for no money just to be able to access promises of work in the future, I don't think that should happen. Everybody should get paid for the work that they do.
How would you feel about working for free rather than being paid for what you've studied for?
Personally, I think it's wrong. I know it happens a lot in the fashion world and the media world, and it did happen in architecture up until the early 90s that architecture graduates were expected to work for free. But luckily, we've got a good body in the Royal Institute of British Architects who changed that, and particularly in London, architecture graduates can get a placement, which is the same as an internship, and can earn around £21,000 for that. Annually.
I work in the creative industry, and years ago I was an intern in an art gallery, and it's kind of a chicken and an egg thing. If you work in the arts, you kind of have to do free internships, but at the same time I think a lot of the industry exploits free talent, basically. I actually have thought about this before, because now I'm at a position in my career where I might need an intern, and I don't think I would actually ever exploit someone for free. I would have to find the money to employ them. I think the internet has actually exacerbated the problems with people getting low pay or no pay, because there's a website right now I was just on the other day that said what I will do for a $5, and there are people on there saying I'll work for you for a day, and these are all very talented, creative people, and I think there's got to come a time where we all stand up and say enough is enough. People have to have a living wage, and that includes 18-year-old interns.
The internship that I'm doing right now was much better than the previous one. In my previous fashion internship, we had to work from about 8:30 to 2 a.m, which is quite crazy. Half an hour lunch, half an hour dinner. And although, you don't have to be there, there's a pressure to do that and to kind of work at the same standard that, the head designers are kind of working at. So, it's very stressful, but then you put yourself in that position. You can choose what company to work for. If you don't like it, you can leave, look for somewhere else.
What about people who just can't afford it? They might be well able to do this internship and might need it just as much. And
it's not something that you should literally start and then say, well, I've got financial problems. I don't think it's something that government should be forking out simply because those that want to do it can't afford it.
What's the point of doing community work when they're not getting nothing? It's good for them to do the community work. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. It's good that they do it, get the experience. But, there's got to be something at the end of it. They can't live on fresh air.
Do you think this is something that's changed over time? This is a new thing that people need to do, or do young people expect to get a job too easily?
I think young people should have the right to get a job as soon as possible after they qualified. And the government is responsible for the young people. It's not fair. Some people who are graduated work in a supermarket stacking things on the shelves, you see. This is victimization.
I applied for 30 internships before getting the one I'm in right now.
And I got the one I was in right now through sheer hard-headedness. I sent my application off and then sent a follow-up email and then called them and then sent a follow-up call. I basically got the internship by demonstrating to them that I wouldn't leave them alone until they gave me an internship placement. So I think it is very difficult to get an internship because it's difficult in the job market at any and every level. And I think that opens the market up to a lot of exploitation. I've heard about a company, for example, called Inspired Interns. They put you in an internship placement for, say, 3 months or 6 months. And then, if you find employment within the following year, they will take a 10% cut from your salary for the whole next year. So 10% off your annual salary, which is absolutely huge. Even if you earn just like, say, 15 grand, that's still like a significant amount of money you're going to be paying for them to essentially find you work experience, which you should find by yourself for £0 anyway. So you're basically paying to work, which I think is really perverse. Well, you know, we're members of a capitalist society, we're not slaves, so why should we pay for the privilege of working?
It's just like any other job, it's your responsibility to find out what you're going to be doing, and it's becoming a problem because there are companies that I know where they're actually firing people so that they can take on interns for free, and obviously that's absolutely atrocious.
I don't think it should be used as a way of allowing people with money to buy their way into a job, which will happen, of course.
So do you think it's unfair for people who can't afford to be out of paid employment, that they have to get internships to get into certain work?
It's just another way that people with money can use undue influence to get their children the best jobs.
The 2 internships I did were in media companies. So maybe if I wanted to, say, work in a bookshop or be a postman, there wouldn't be an internship for it. But because my family has, or I have the money to, or I can stay at friends, that's what I usually do in London while I do these internships. I found university a lot of fun. I did history and French, but then those aren't exactly vocational jobs, a vocational subject. If I had done perhaps veterinary studies or something, I should expect a job now. But as it is, I've got a degree from Oxbridge and I'm jobless. On our university careers website, all of the paid opportunities are really boring things that I haven't gone for. And then the exciting things are always unpaid, always.
Why should you expect money for absolutely everything? You know, I think sometimes it's good good for yourself, self-fulfillment to give something for nothing. When we're talking about big companies, I think it's scandalous that they can take on students for up to a year and not pay them. Definitely something needs to be done about that.
One of my close friends actually interned at a big fashion house for over a year. He did eventually get a job out of it, a very low-paying job. He basically almost worked him to death for a shitty job at the end of it. Also, my partner interned for 6 months at another creative business, and she was making decisions that were earning the company or potentially earning the company a lot of money. And 6 months down the line, when she asked them for a job at the end of it, they turned her away and said, no, sorry, can't afford you at the moment, and just got another intern in. She's told me stories of people that have worked for years in interning at the same place and still been turned down eventually. It's actually no wonder that people claim benefits while they're on it, because they're trying to think of the big picture, but these companies are never going to give them a job.
Do you think there's a sort of fatalism within this group of people? They think that there's nothing that can be done about it. They think that this is a situation we find ourselves in, now you've got to just lump it. Or do you think that something, the younger generation should rise up themselves and protest against this?
For the younger generation that have studied fashion to be exploited, they kind of expect it. So I don't think there'll be any sort of uprising at all. I think they're just willing to put the hours in and claim benefits and just sort of try as hard as they can to get a place that doesn't really exist in most cases.